Hey everyone, my name is Hakim and welcome to 3 Minute Mastery. And as always, we are fumbling through life together, one lesson at a time. So we've all heard that saying, nothing lasts forever and all good things must come to an end. Now, where do these sayings come from? Well, obviously it can be argued that it comes from the many failed relationships that exist on this planet and that exist in our lives. But it actually goes a lot further back than that. In Buddhism, there's something called the Law of Impermanence. And what the Law of Impermanence states is that all things on this planet, whether physical, material, or mental, will eventually dissipate into nothingness. Most people watching this right now don't really care that, some physical structure 10,000 years from now won't be here. I'm sure many of you aren't crying that Stonehenge will disappear sometime soon. But a lot of us do care when it comes to our relationships. Even though the law of impermanence applies to our relationships in the sense that, relationships may last for a couple years and then may dissolve, there is still a very great possibility that your relationship will last forever, and the law of impermanence will still work within that relationship. Obviously, throughout your relationship, you're going to go through some changes. One person may evolve at a faster rate than the other person. That is the law of impermanence working within the relationship. Nothing will stay the same. Things are always changing. And when the law of impermanence states that something will be destroyed, what that also can mean inside of a relationship is that maybe a certain way of thinking will be destroyed, or a certain condition within that relationship will be destroyed. It doesn't necessarily mean that the relationship itself will be destroyed and you'll go your separate ways, even though that happens probably most of the time. But for those who are willing to work at it, and for those who are willing to accept the law of impermanence, this change within the relationship can be a very beneficial thing. It actually can work to your advantage. So as one person is evolving and changing, or the other person has created a new condition where both people have to come to some sort of agreement upon, as long as you work together in that, you can make that relationship last forever. And indeed, I'm sure we all know of relationships that have stood the test of time. I have this thing where every single time I see an old couple holding hands down the street, or more specifically, if I see them in a restaurant, I'll go and I'll sit down beside them and I'll talk to them and I'll have a conversation. And I'm just so fascinated as to how these relationships stand the test of time. And a lot of times when I ask them these questions, they give me the same answer. And the answer is usually, number one, you need to have a sense of humor. You need to laugh together. You need to find things funny together. You need to have a sense of humor about the other person, and not only a sense of humor about the other person, but you need to have a sense of humor about yourself as well. And the second thing that they always say is that there needs to be a willingness to adapt to change. There needs to be a willingness to adapt to change. And that change is the law of impermanence working inside of that relationship. And if you do that, then you can become one of those people who has a 30-year, 40-year, 50-year relationship. And you may be one of those people who walks down the street, 85 years old, holding hands with the love of your life. You have nothing to fear when it comes to the law of impermanence. Look at it as an opportunity for you to get better and for you to grow within your relationship. I thank you so much for listening to me today. Once again, my name is Hakim, and I haven't told you anything that you already don't know.